Hi guys, what's up? It's Molly and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is probably going to be one of, if not the most personal video I have ever filmed. Believe it or not, because I have filmed quite a few, especially on this channel. I have filmed a lot of personal videos, but I think this one just might take the cake as the most personal. I'm not gonna get emotional in this video. I'm telling myself ahead of time that I'm not going to, because I cry in way too many videos. So I'm just gonna spare myself on this one from crying. Plus my hair just like, oh my god, my hair is so annoying. Today's actually when I'm filming this, I'm gonna upload it the same day. It's Fab and I's 1-year anniversary. So I like got half ready because I didn't want to get ready now. And then I have to just like get ready again all over again at like 8 o'clock. So I just got like half ready so I can like take a shower after this and like actually get ready. I apologize, I'm going on a tangent. I do that when I get nervous. But anyways, make sure to subscribe here if you guys are new. Most of my videos are not normally like this. They're like vlogs and like, I don't know, clothing hauls and more like fun things. So this video is a little bit more serious, but I wanted to touch base on some things with you guys because I felt like there was a gap in between us, and for a while I had been going through something. Fab and I have been going through something, and I didn't want to tell you guys. I felt like it was too soon, and I did feel like there was like something missing in my relationship with my YouTube, because when I feel like I have a wall up, I don't tend to film, and I tend to film like superficial things and not really like me. So that was kind of what I was going through. Like I just felt like I wasn't really me fully. So that's why I wanted to make this video, just to clear up the air on some things, because people tend to speculate on, you know, my DMs, in the comments, on certain websites and everything. And I just want to clear the air officially. I am here to speak my truth and tell you guys everything that has been going on. So I already texted Fab and made sure that like he thought it was a good idea to film this video, and he was like, yeah, go ahead, do it, because I am so like back and forth whether I should film it or I shouldn't film it. And at the end of the day, maybe this will help someone or make someone feel less alone, so I'm gonna do it. Basically, since I know a ton of people will probably not watch this entire video, I'm just gonna give you the spark noted version right now. I was pregnant. A lot of you guys are probably like, yeah, we knew that, sis, because so many of you knew somehow. Like, you're just like, you seem pregnant, like you're breathing heavier, you're pregnant. And I was, and I did not have an abortion. So that's what I'm going to just say right now, because I know that people are gonna be like, oh my god, you were pregnant, so you must have had an abortion. I didn't. I completely agree with everybody having their own choices, but for my body and my choice, I would never have an abortion. So I did not have one. Now we are going to get into the actual storyline of everything that occurred, so that way you guys know why like 1 second I was kind of hinting at being pregnant, and then like the next second I just kind of like stopped like nothing happened and pretended like nothing had just happened, you know? I kind of just went back to normal, and then everyone was like, wait, we thought you were like kind of maybe pregnant, and now you're not. Basically, I had been on birth control. I was on Janelle for 3 years, maybe 4 years, I don't even know exactly, but I was on it for a long time, and it made me feel really weird. Like I had super bad mood swings. I just had a lot of side effects from my birth control. So I decided to go off of it, and Fab knew that as well. We weren't necessarily being responsible. We were just kind of going off of my app's ovulation, when it would tell me that I'm ovulating, and then we would be more cautious then, which like obviously isn't the smartest thing to do. So we weren't not trying to get pregnant, but we weren't trying at the same time. It was kind of like we were just doing our own thing. So because of that, and just because I am a very much so an overthinker, one day I had like Amazon credits, and I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna order tests on Amazon, pregnancy tests, just to have them in my apartment in case I wanted to take one, you know, to just clear my mind, because I'm that girl who like was a virgin and thought she was pregnant, you guys. So I just like am always like, oh my god, I think I'm pregnant. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna order this big box of tests that had 5 in it, and they were like, hi Fendi, they were like the digital ones. So I ordered 5 of them and I was like, I'll just have them in my apartment, whatever. Of course, right when I get them in, I take one just to like take it. And it says not pregnant on it. So I'm like, yeah, I knew that, duh, I'm not pregnant. And like I said, there were 5 in it. So as the days went on, it was weird. Like I just ordered them out of the blue, but then I started to realize like I was late on my period, but it wasn't really that big of a deal for me because like I was always late on my period. My periods were always irregular. So I wasn't super alarmed, but I was like, oh, I'm late on my period. And then I was like, okay, I guess I'll just try and maybe take another one. I don't know, like I'll just take one more. And it said not pregnant. And then, you know, a couple more days went by, still didn't get my period. It said not pregnant on the 3rd one. So now I have 2 tests left. I take the 4th one maybe like 3 or 4 days later because I still hadn't gotten my period. So by now I'm like a week and a half late. So I take one more, not pregnant. And I told Fab at that point, I was like, I'm like kind of late on my period, but I've taken 4 tests and they all say not pregnant. And he just didn't think anything of it. He knows that my periods are super irregular too. So he was just like, oh, that's weird. And he was like, why do you keep taking them? I was like, I don't know. I'm just like such a nervous Nelly that I need to keep taking them. So then you guys know at that point, at this time frame, Fab and I weren't living together. So he left that one night. I forget if it was like the same night or that night or something. He left that night and I was like, you know what? I have one more. I remember I was working at my desk and they were in the bathroom right next to my office. And I was like, I have one more. Let's just take it right now and see. So just to get it over with. So I go in the bathroom, I pee, and I put it on the counter because you know how like, if you've ever taken one before, it takes a second. It's not like you pee on it and then it's instantly like pregnant, not pregnant. It takes a second. So it was like loading because it was one of the digital ones, and I put it on the counter and I was just scrolling through my phone. This is the weirdest part, you guys. And I just want to tell this like story so that way I can always remember it because it is like a really cute story. So I was just like sitting on the toilet on my phone, just like going through social media because I knew that I had some time to like waste before I had to look at the test. And I hate just like staring at it because then it feels like forever. So I went on Snapchat and I was just watching Snapchat stories and I see this story from a mutual friend of Fab and ours. And she posts just like a black screen and she's like, guys, OMG, I just had the pregnancy dream, which I don't even know what that is, but she was like, I just had the pregnancy dream, which means that someone near and dear to me is expecting. I wonder who it is. That was the last Snapchat story that I watched. And then I look on my countertop and the test says pregnant. And I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way. So immediately I Google, what are the chances of getting a positive pregnancy test and not being pregnant? And it's like 0. It's like 0.1, you guys. Basically, if you get a pregnant thing, there's only like a couple things that could alter that, and I didn't do any of those things. So I was like freaking out and Fab had literally just left. He had just texted me. I just got home. I called him. I FaceTimed him. I was like, you need to come back right now and take me to CVS. I didn't even say why, but I think he knew because he smiled at me. He was like, okay. So he comes back. I go to CVS and I buy 2 more. And I bought 2 more. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take, I showed him the test. I was like, I didn't want to because I wanted to like maybe surprise him if I actually was, but I just couldn't hold it in. I was like, I needed to blurt it out. So I showed the test to him and then I was like, but I need to take another one right now to like know for sure, but I don't have to pee because I just peed. So we were like, all right, let's just drink a ton of water. So I drank a ton of water and he like stayed in my apartment with me while we waited until I had to pee again. Then I go to pee again and it says not pregnant. So I'm like, okay, Fab, like rest assured, you know, not that we were like super mad or anything that I would be pregnant. It's just like initially it's like, whoa, like really, like we weren't expecting that. So we were like, okay, you know, rest assured, let's go to sleep, go home, and I'm not pregnant. And Fab even sent the test to his mom that said pregnant on it and said, OMG, Molly's pregnant. And then he like sent her another one after that and was like, haha, no, she's not pregnant. And his mom was like, oh, good joke, like, wait for it. So then me being the nervous Nelly that I am, this video is gonna be so long, me being the nervous Nelly that I am, I Google search, if you drink a lot of water, does it dilute your HCG levels? And it's like, yes, it does. So basically then I'm thinking in my head, oh my god, I just drank so much water that I diluted my levels and the pregnancy test couldn't pick it up. And then I call Fab immediately and tell him that. He's like, Molly, we just need to wait until the morning. Like, we need to wait until the morning. You need to chill out. So the next day rolls around, like Fab does his thing. I kind of like sleep it off, and the next morning I like think it's all a dream. I forget about it. And then that night rolls around. We ended up going out to dinner, and after dinner I was like, okay, let's go buy some more. Keep in mind, these are freaking expensive. These are like $25–30 per pack that I'm getting, because I'm getting like the best ones because I really want to know for sure. So Fab's like, okay. So we go, take one, pregnant. Then I'm like, okay, what are the chances now that I have 2 out of 4 that I've taken in the past 24 hours? 2 say pregnant, 2 say not pregnant. And I'm like freaking out. So then I'm like, okay, I'll take another one in a couple hours. A couple hours roll around, take another one, pregnant. Then the next one, pregnant. Then one more at 3 a.m., pregnant. So at that point, I had now had 5 tests that say pregnant on them. Actually, should I go grab them? I have them with me. I'm gonna go get them. Okay. Hi. So I keep them all in this thing, this little box. This was like one of the boxes that I had. Here's a little wrapper. But whoop, 1, 2, I have 4 with me. I don't know where the other one is. There was just like, I took so many at that point that it was just like they were all over the place. Everyone was there. So like here, I don't know if it's gonna focus. There we go. But pregnant. This one's like a little line, but it kind of faded. But that one said pregnant. And then these 2 both say, whoops, I just dropped one, but they both say pregnant. Which I also didn't realize that when it does say pregnant, it stays saying pregnant forever, but when it says not pregnant, it like goes away. It's weird. Anyways, so yeah, at that point we like knew like, okay, you're pregnant. So I call my mom, I tell her. She's kind of excited because she wants to be a grandma so bad. Keep in mind also, you guys, my whole life I want to be a young mom. Like that's what I really wanted to be, was a young mom. So I wasn't like super like mad or anything. It was kind of just like Fab and I were both in shock a little bit, but we weren't upset because we had talked about having kids and stuff. It wasn't like a complete, you know, whoa moment. Sorry, this story is so all over the place because I just like, I'm nervous. But I tell my mom and she's like, okay, so tomorrow you and me, let's go get blood work done to make sure that you are. So I go and get blood work done and it comes back pregnant the next day. I had to wait 24 hours, got it done at like a Quest lab, pregnant. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm pregnant. And then they send that information over to my doctor. My doctor sends that information over to my OBGYN. And my OBGYN is like, your levels are still really, really low, very low. So we don't know how pregnant you are. So we want you to go take one more blood test next week and figure that out. So I'm like, okay. So then I go and get one more done. And the following week, and then they started going up. So they were like, okay, yes, like you are pregnant and your levels are going up at a good rate. So that's good news. So I was super happy about that. And it came back, they found out that I, at the time, like when I was taking all of these pregnancy tests and stuff, I was 2 weeks pregnant. So I found out so early. I found out at 2 weeks, and my doctor told me a majority of women find out at like 4 to 8 weeks that they're pregnant. So just keep in mind, I found out so early. And from that moment on, right when I found out that I was pregnant, I started taking prenatal pills. I stopped drinking coffee completely. I was eating super healthy besides like a couple like meals out to eat and stuff. But I was doing everything right. I also want to say that in this video, if I don't seem like super sad and stuff, it's just because I was sad for a really long time and I'm kind of in a better place now. So that's why I'm not like super emotional and I'm kind of smiley and joking and stuff, because I've already dealt with it. So I'm like, okay now, as opposed to like if I filmed it the day after, I would just be an emotional wreck. So anyways, I find out that, you know, my levels are going up, and my doctor says, since you're so early, we don't want, like the OBGYN says, we don't want you to come in for an ultrasound until a couple more weeks. So it was like 4 weeks after I had that phone call with her, I had my first OBGYN ultrasound appointment ready. She told me, you know, come in with a full bladder. I believe it was on April 24th. That's what I want to say is the date. It was like the week after Easter. So Fab and I were planning on going away for Easter weekend, and then the week after, like that Tuesday, I believe, after we got back, whatever that date was, I was supposed to come in for an ultrasound. So this is when you guys were starting to see Fab and I vlog looking for a 3-bedroom apartment, because I was going to have an office, we were going to have a bedroom, and then we were also going to have a nursery. Sorry, the lighting keeps changing. So we were looking for a 3-bedroom apartment. We were even looking at houses, like considering buying a house. So we were looking at apartments, trying to decide on where we wanted to live, and that was like the only real stressor in my life, was like figuring out where we were going to live, if we were going to have enough money. You know, I was really nervous about those things and a little stressed out, and Fab was too, but we weren't like overly stressed out. Just a little bit, because we felt like we weren't ready. But then, like, you know, everyone we talked to, like my sister and my mom and Fab's parents, and everyone was saying like, you're never going to be officially ready. It's just going to, like, if you wait until you are completely ready to have a child, you're never gonna get there. Like, you're never gonna be like, one day just wake up and be like, yeah, I'm ready to like have the commitment of a child for the rest of my life. It just kind of all happens, as everything does in life, you know, it just happens. So that made us feel a lot better. But like, again, we just didn't know where we were going to live. It was kind of like a ticking time bomb of like, we need to find a place. So that's why, like, you guys saw vlogs and stuff of us trying to find somewhere pretty quickly. But other than that, we were happy. We were like planning out how we were going to reveal it, how we would do like a gender reveal, what we were thinking about names. Like, I still have names listed in my phone. We were really excited, you guys. And then at that point, we started to get comments that were like, oh my God, she's pregnant. Like, we think she's pregnant. And like, then it was like super exciting, because we were like, wow, like people really think that I'm pregnant. Like, how did they know already? Like, we didn't even do anything. People literally could tell from my breathing, you guys. They were like, you're breathing heavier, you're pregnant. So like, people just knew, and it was crazy. We were like just blown away by that. And then, you know, the sad day came. So I'm trying to look at my calendar to make sure I get the date exactly right. So on April 11th, it's a Thursday, Fab has these basketball games. He did a men's league in a town about 30 minutes from us, and I would always go to them because they were really fancy. Like, it was in a nice basketball gym, and I like, it just felt like a real game. So I loved going to them. So I would always go with him. That day I changed like normal. I felt completely normal. Like I said to Fab, before we left for the game, I had a little bit of cramps, but keep in mind, I'm pregnant and I've never been pregnant before. At this point, I was probably about 6 weeks pregnant. So I just figured, you know, I'm having cramps because I'm pregnant. Like, weird things are happening to my body. Keep in mind, I had all these body changes starting to happen. Nothing too crazy yet, but like, things started happening where like I felt a little strange. There were new feelings that I had never felt before in my body, so I just assumed it was part of being pregnant. So like, he was like, oh, okay, do you want anything? And I was like, no, it'll pass soon. And it did. As soon as we got in the car, I felt perfectly fine. So we start driving to our destination, and we're about 5-10 minutes away from the gym. I'm just like looking out the window, and I feel this huge drop in my stomach. Like, it just completely, it felt like something just like literally dropped in my abdomen. Like, it was the weirdest feeling. I can't describe it to anybody else, but it just felt like literally something dropped, like a ball. But I didn't want to freak Fab out and be like, oh my God, like I think something's happening to me, because I didn't know. And we were 5 minutes away from our place. So I just kept quiet, and when we got there, I was like, hey, I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quickly. And I kept telling myself, like, you're just gonna get in the bathroom, you're gonna check yourself out, and everything's gonna be okay, and then you're gonna go watch the basketball game and have a good time. So Fab's like, okay, I'll go to the gym and I'll see you in there. So as soon as I get in the bathroom, I'm like really nervous. I pulled down my pants, and I saw more blood than I had ever seen in my entire life. And it was like, it was the scariest moment of my life. And I know that that sounds so dramatic, but in that moment, I felt like everything paused around me. And I literally felt like I couldn't hear anything, I couldn't speak, I just couldn't do anything. It was like, literally like, imagine like, I don't know, like just like something awful happening and you're just like I just froze. I froze, you guys. I freaked out because I knew that it wasn't normal. I know that there's a thing called like implantation bleeding where you bleed for a little bit when you first start getting pregnant. It's like some women do, but it's supposed to be really light bleeding because I had read up on so many things about pregnancy. Like, trust me, I had all the apps, I had read every forum, I had done all of that stuff. So I knew that that happens, but I knew that it was supposed to be really light bleeding, and this was more bleeding than I would get on like my heaviest day of my period. Keep in mind, like 10 minutes ago I was perfectly fine. I freak out, like I pull my pants back up right away and I go over to the gym and I tell Fab, I'm like, we need to go to the hospital right now, I think I'm having a miscarriage. And I was just like so shaken that like he packed up his stuff right away, and I was like, do you want to come into the bathroom with me right now and just like see? Because I didn't know. I was like, maybe I'm just like seeing things, like maybe he'll see it and be like, it's not that big of a deal. But by the time we were walking back from the gym to the bathroom, I could feel blood dripping all the way down onto my foot. It was dripping from there all the way down, you guys, down my whole leg onto my foot. So imagine how much blood that has to be to get that far down. You know, it's like it was a lot all at once. I could barely walk. My underwear was just like completely ruined. So then Fab saw that, he was like, okay, yeah, we have to go to the hospital. Sorry, my camera just cut me off, but we go to the nearest hospital. Lucky for me, it was like the bougiest hospital ever. It was so nice, which helps the situation a lot because obviously I'm freaking out. I never thought that I would, I'll get to that later. But we go to the hospital, you know, like Fab just drives me there, tell them what happened, they take me into another room, and then a doctor comes in, he's like, we do think that you are having a miscarriage just from the symptoms that you're telling us. Blah 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 blah. So then I had to go through everything. I had to get my first ever ultrasound. What a nice way to have it, you know, in the hospital when they have to tell you that your baby is dead, which was like heartbreaking. It's just, I had to like have my first ultrasound by myself in a room. They wouldn't let Fab come in because it was like a small room, I guess. I would have had him come in, but it was just like super uncomfortable, which they then confirmed that it would pass out of me pretty soon, and that, you know, I was no longer pregnant. Which we arrived at the hospital, by the way, you guys, around like 8:30, and we were there until 3:30 in the morning, I think, or maybe like 2:30. I don't even know. We were both so tired. Both of our phones were on like 2%. We were there forever. What I was gonna say earlier is that I never thought I would be the person to have a miscarriage. I am super healthy. In terms of like, I never even get a common cold, which I don't really know if that, like, if you have like a healthy immune system, if that equals anything to do with miscarriage, but I just automatically assumed like I'm healthy. I never hurt myself. I've never even been in a serious like trauma before of anything. I've never even been sick for more than 2 days in my entire life. So I never really thought that I would have this happen to me. So when it did, I was just like in complete shock and denial. Like, I was in denial. I felt really embarrassed. I felt like there was something wrong with me. I was going through a lot of internal struggles. I had to get a huge shot in my butt because the baby's blood and my blood were 2 different types of blood. So if they combined and I didn't get that shot, I could have had organ failure. It was like all this stuff that was just like all at once. I was like, whoa, this is like more like, this is scary. I don't know. Basically, they confirmed that I did have a miscarriage, and I bled for like 7-8 days after that. Like, basically the heaviest day of my period times 7. So I never had like a light day. It was just like bleeding, and it was awful. And they confirmed that, you know, I was no longer pregnant. I just confirmed that a little while ago, maybe like 3 weeks ago, that I'm officially no longer pregnant, because my levels were still kind of at like 10. So she was just like waiting for me to get down below 5. So officially no longer pregnant. My levels are all normal and balanced again. So yeah, now that I am about, I don't know, like 30 minutes, however long this video is, in, you guys now know I was pregnant. You guys were right. And I talked with my doctor, and I don't really know if there's something like wrong with my body that caused me to have a miscarriage, or if it was just stress or what it was. I don't really know what it was, and I don't really think I want to know what it was just yet. I'd like to be able to try one more time on my own with Fab. Not on my own, but you know what I mean, like try one more time to get pregnant. Not right now. Just like in the future in my life, before I like get tests. You know, if I have a miscarriage again, then I'll get tests to make sure that I'm healthy and that it's normal. But I'm also nervous about a lot of things in my life. Like after that happens, I just like remember crying. I'm getting a little sad right now. I just remember crying and crying and crying and crying because I got really nervous about certain things. I don't want to cry. Okay, I'm not gonna cry. But like my sister and I, for instance, are 11 years apart because my mom couldn't get pregnant in between us. So that was like a huge thing for me that I just kept thinking about, like, oh my God, like what if I'm just like my mom, and what if I can't get pregnant for 10, 11 more years now? Which, you know, that's like an awful way to think. Like I'm just gonna think positive about everything, but I'm just saying, like back then, like that's what was going through my head, was like, oh my God, what if this was my one shot at a child and it's over? Basically, as I'm sure a lot of you can imagine, it was like a literal roller coaster. It was like I'm starting the ride, and then it's like, oh, you find out you're pregnant, and then you're like, oh, I'm kind of excited, and then you're like, oh, we don't have anywhere to live, and then you're like, oh, maybe it'll get okay, maybe it all will be good, and then you get even higher because you're like, people are so excited for us. And then, you know, you're shopping for strollers and baby clothes, like looking, not shopping, but like looking with your mom, and then all of a sudden, bing, miscarriage, and you're just like, it felt so weird to be like, okay, I wasn't pregnant, and then I was, and now I'm not. And it was just like, it all happened so quickly that it was just like my brain couldn't process it because it was so much happening at once. And it was even harder because it was like the only people I could talk about it with were like my best friends that I told, my mom, Fab, and my sister. So it was like I didn't have many people to like talk to about it, and I had to just like, you know, put on my normal face when I went out in public with people who didn't know a couple days after, and I just had to pretend like everything was normal on YouTube too. And it was really hard for me to just like have to like internally deal with all of that. Not that I didn't have Fab, like Fab was amazing through all of it. Obviously he's going through a lot too. But it was still, it did feel like something where I was like, what did I do? For so long I felt like I did something wrong, which then I think back and I'm like, I didn't. Like as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I took every precaution, even more so than I probably needed to make sure that everything was good. So I don't really know. Sometimes I read online that sometimes it could just be like from the beginning, even though you get pregnant, like it's like a bad, you know, like sperm and egg combination, that like it never has a chance in general. So I don't know if it was something like that. I just really don't know. But yeah, that was a really hard time. So hopefully this like clears up the air and clears up the comments and the DMs that I get. Like I post a picture in a sweatshirt and I get like 5 DMs being like, OMG, are you hiding your belly? Or are you pregnant? And I'm like, no, like please stop. And I know that those comments don't come from any type of malicious intent, but like they were exciting to me at first when I was, and now that I'm not, they just like bring my mood down so much because it hurts me still. Like deep down I'm still hurting from it. So like even now, like I see pregnancy reveals all the time on Instagram, and I'm like, oh my God, like we would have been revealing our pregnancy right around now. Like I literally had it written in my old planner. I had to get a new planner because I had it written in my old planner, like pregnancy reveal, we can upload a video, or like we can post an Instagram, you know, like stupid things like that. Like I was just looking forward to so much, and it's hard to like see other people doing it and being like, wow, we would have been doing this too. But we talk about it all the time, like our time will come. We're going to try again one day. Who knows if that'll be soon, not soon. I'm on birth control again. I'm on a new birth control, so it's not gonna be anytime this summer or anything. But yeah, that's my story of how I was pregnant and then I wasn't pregnant. And yeah, I just want to clear the air because I don't want people to think that I got an abortion when I didn't. I don't want people putting words in my mouth. I just want to kind of put it all out there and get it done. Please be nice in the comments. I probably won't read them today since it is our anniversary, and if there's mean ones, I will not want to read them because I don't want to ruin our anniversary night. But I hope that you guys understand. I hope that this is getting the air all cleared. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna go now. I will be back with a normal scheduled normal video. That is what I normally upload on my channel, probably tomorrow or the next day, so you guys can look forward to that, back to regular scheduled programming. But I love you guys so much. Thank you for all of the constant love and support. I know that no one meant any malicious intent by what they commented, but I just want those comments to stop, so that's why I'm making this video. And now it's over, and that's that. So I love you guys so much, and this video is so long, so hopefully to those of you that got through it, thank you. And I love you all so much, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye.